Are we up and running yet? Okay, it looks like we're more up and running than I thought we were. Okay, so welcome, whoever happens to be here, if you happen to have made it so far. See, are we live and running? Seems like we are. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the state of things right now. So it's not going to be really great to be talking about some of the stuff, but we do need to kind of address the situation as it is right now. So what are the current numbers for coronavirus? As you probably have heard, we went over 200,000 officially. So that's going to be it's kind of another big milestone that we have here. So, all right, let's look at this here. We currently have, oh wow, 3,116 new cases. We have, let's see, this is showing me my local area. We're currently at 1.75 million cases. For some reason, this is only saying 196,000. I'm not quite sure where all this data is coming from exactly. So, there we go. All right, so let's see what the statistics say. Let's find that map thing here. All right. Oh, nope, not making it as easy for me as it was. All right, well, nevertheless, just reading it off, yeah, we are still at a not very good state. We had more cases. We're overall in a downward trend, but it's still not looking good. All right, now, why am I so washed out? All right, so let's talk a little bit about kind of the state of things right now. One of the big things that I think a lot of us are wondering is, so in this last week, there was some talk. We've got another guy who's doing medicine, who's kind of speaking out now, and he's, I guess, the Fauci replacement for the moment. And we're being told, or at least he told Congress, that while there may be, as our dear leader is promising, there may be a vaccine available within a month or so, but that even if there is one available or that one is developed, that it isn't really going to be broadly available to the public for quite some time. And that when, with that timeline, what are we looking at for going back and actually having the ability to start our lives again? Well, unfortunately, that particular time is currently set to be middle of next year. And yeah, that's kind of what I think a lot of people were realistically expecting. There's a fair number of people who, okay. So you talk to people who are being, sent home for work and that kind of thing, and, working from home, and you ask them, when are you expected to return? And they're saying that they're not expecting to return to work till August of 2021. And that is surprising to some people, but honestly, it is not much of a surprise to me. Oh boy, something seems to have gone screwy with the live stream. I'm going to check some statistics here. Forgive me as I don't directly address what's going on. Okay, we do seem to have a little bit of an issue. Not sure what's going on with Facebook here. Are we connected? Okay, well, we seem to be connected to the internet. So, I'm not sure why we're having a stream issue right now. I'm hoping this works itself out here soon. Okay, so, let's talk a little bit about what this means. So, if we are at a situation where realistically it is... Hopefully that's just showing me that it's not streaming. I'm going to look at these statistics instead and hope that these numbers are telling me nice things and they're true. But nevertheless, so speaking of numbers, yeah. So, according to the numbers, we're not looking at being able to get back till middle of next year. What does that mean? That means that right now, it is the time to go ahead and understand that life is different right now. We've got to figure out a way of making this our life for the next several months, for the better part of a year now. It means that we actually have something to look forward to. I mean, I know it's a long ways away, but it's not an impossible time. It's not something that is never going to happen. It is a real, concrete... I mean, not as concrete as we like, but I mean, I think that a lot of us can feel that this seems like a realistic date in a lot of ways. And that, we may not reach it. We may not achieve it. It may end up being not August of next year. It may end up being November of next year. I don't know. It may be longer. But realistically, there is only so long that this can go on. And I know that seems like a really long ways away, but you want to know something? It's been a long time already. We can make it. It's hard. And when I say it's hard, you might have even seen the thing that I saw today, that depression has tripled. I believe that's in the U.S., I might be wrong, but depression has tripled since coronavirus started. And I mean, of course it has. I mean, everything's changing. And there's other things, of course, that are causing an awful lot of stress out there in the world right now. So... Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that you can see me. I appreciate that. I'm going to actually pop out this chat here. So, but the thing is that we actually now have a chance to kind of see where... To chart a course. It's not the answer we wanted. Oh, what's... Pardon me. Give me just a second here. Okay. Okay. Good. All right. So, I think we're back online. Thank you for everybody who had patience with me as encountered a little bit of technical difficulties there. All right. Back in business. So, but the thing is that although this time is so far away, it is the time that we can plan for. Now, and honestly, I actually kind of prefer when we have these long timetables. I think that it makes it so that we can... Hold on, let me get this adjusted properly. My framing's not quite right. Good enough. Okay. When we have these long timetables, that's when we can really do some of the things that we need to do properly. I mean, let's be really honest. Right now, I have a sort of seat of my pants plan. If things go really crazy, we could move to, we could move to Puerto Rico take a trip to Puerto Rico because it's part of the United States technically, and you don't need a passport or this, or maybe we can go someplace. If civil war starts in the United States, where can we go? Okay. And honestly, when it comes to things that are as unlikely as a civil war cropping up in the near future, those kinds of plans are appropriate. But if we're talking about plans for our future, if we're talking about plans for our jobs, plans for our living, plans for normal life, then those plans, we should be spending more time making those plans. So this time that we have between now and then is going to be good. Ideally, we'll be able to say, in August of 2021, I am going to, do certain things. Now, admittedly, it is hard to say all of these things right now. There is so much uncertainty. I can't tell you who the president's going to be, in 6 months' time. Honestly, there's part of me that does worry about some of those more, outlandish scenarios. What if we do have a theoretical civil war? What if we do have, a situation where the best idea is to, maybe leave the country? So the thing is that if that's what it is, then we just need to go ahead and spend our time making these plans ahead of time, being prepared. And I'm not saying go out and buy, a year's worth of canned food and things like that. A lot of preparation right now that we're going to need to do, and this is really one of the important things that you can see from the fires that happened out west, is that one of the most important things is just the people that you know. There is a large Facebook group which has cropped up just in the last week or so, which is basically people who have survived the Oregon wildfires and what they're going through. So pretty good that they are able to share that. Not only that, they're sharing resources. People who are needing a place have got a place. There's some cases where people who are offering places then suddenly find themselves also in the line of fire. I have one friend who I think has had to evacuate twice now. She evacuated her home, which was completely destroyed, and then the place that she moved to was in danger of being burnt down. Was not actually finally burnt down, but yeah, it was pretty tense there. So now, what we really need to have for a situation like this, because this is about the short term. But for a situation like this, we need to really have the ability to talk to people. We need the ability to have our friends who are there, who are to build a network so that when something goes wrong, we can run over. So let's talk about this. Okay, so build a network. Let's start, not just Facebook groups. Facebook groups are good. Let's start other groups. Let's go ahead, let's get together, because here's the thing. If we start running into a situation where lots of us are evicted, then we're going to need to have a network of couches that entire families can surf on, at least for a little while. And we're going to need more than that, because, yeah, let's be honest, you can only depend on people like that for so long, because there's only so much of that that's even going to be available. We're all going to be in that situation, quite possibly. So with that being what we're going to do, let's actually try to put together some groups, just your friends, I keep saying this, but this is one of the most important things that you can go through when you are on, when you're doing this kind of thing. Go through your contacts, talk to your friends, talk to all the people, go through, oh wow, here's somebody who's way down here, oh, I haven't talked to this person, in months now, oh, here's somebody who I haven't talked to, who keeps texting me about, little live streams that he's doing for music, and, I go and occasionally look at him and that kind of thing, but I haven't actually talked to him in literally years now. I mean, we used to play D&D together and various board games and stuff, I should talk to that person. So I'm going to, I keep saying that I'm going to, and I have. I'm going to talk to more and more of these. And we're not even necessarily doing this with the intent of building that network. Let's just remember that the contact that we make with friends right now has so many benefits. Okay, so that's one. Now let's talk about that in the long term. Where is that going? Okay, so we are all going to know. We're going to see the tide rise. Okay, we're going to see how it happens. It's not going to be sudden, shocking news. hey, the coronavirus vaccine is now available for everybody. Everybody gets it, and a week later, we're all able to go out and go back to work. No, it's not going to happen that way. As much as we would like to think that, as much as it would be great that, dear leader can get a coronavirus vaccine put together by the end of by election time or by the end of the year, and that's not what it's going to be. So we're going to feel this rising wave, and as we feel this rising wave, these connections that we're making, that we're making now, you can say, hey, I'm working on this music project, or I'm working on, whatever, I'm working on a podcast, whatever it may be. Let's do this, and then that's the thing that you can do now. But then when the time comes, hey, I have a friend that I've been working on with this, that I've been working on a podcast with. They might be really good to work with this other thing on. And now we start lifting each other up as our opportunities come, as things happen. So the good news about it being so far away is that we can make real plans. We can make a real way of saying, okay, that is the day when I'm going to feel comfortable looking at houses to buy or whatever it may be, another place to live. That's when I'm going to feel comfortable going out and, getting my car fixed the way that I want it to, or, whatever it may be. And these are the things which finally, being able to do them, we can, as I say, really use these resources as more and more of it, because we're not all going to be comfortable at the same time. But as more and more of us become comfortable, we can all lift each other up and see our way out through the end of this tunnel. So there's some other good things about being a while. And yeah, maybe I'm being overly optimistic about it, but I think it's good. I think it can be a good thing if we try. So let's talk a little bit more about some of the other news of the week. So when it comes to so I'm not gonna directly address this because I am trying to stay how to put it. While I'm not apolitical about this, I'm trying to keep from going off of coronavirus topics. But let's talk about one thing real briefly. And that's this. Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. There's a lot to say about that. There's a lot to say about, I think one of the better quotes was that an 87-year-old woman should not be part of the support structure for, the justice system. But I think that really, regardless of how you feel about it, and I think that a lot of us are very upset about it, but I think that the most important thing is to remember that this is yet another moment to become energized. Don't be despaired, because we have so many opportunities now to talk to people. See, this is the thing. All right, this is the thing that we keep missing and that we keep not doing. And this is why we're doing some of this here, I hope we're here, is that maybe we can use these opportunities where we are going through such horrible things together to really finally to understand that we are together, to understand that we don't have to go through it alone. All right, so we've got a few people here. I'm going to throw it open. Does anybody want to share anything at this point? I'm going to be looking a couple things up real quick here. I'm going to actually pull up the coronavirus, coping with coronavirus stress handbook, or I forget exactly what it's called. It is Coronavirus Anxiety Workbook. And I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to post the link right now again, because I actually found this to be a very useful resource, and I thought that it would be good to go ahead and share this. Okay, so here's the link. Oh, no, hold on, that wasn't it. There we go. So there's the link. And so this is what I'm going through here. Now, there are a lot of things that are important about this. And one of the things that I really kind of want to talk about when it comes to dealing with coronavirus anxiety is understanding the things that are inside your realm of the ability to deal with and outside of your realm of ability to deal with. And I don't mean like, oh, I can't deal with it, it's too stressful. That is another important thing to think about. But I mean in much more of the kind of serenity prayer kind of way. There are things that you can change. There are things that you cannot. And it is very good to have the wisdom to know the difference. And so there are things that you can change. You can change how you deal with people. You can change how you deal with situations. You can't change what other people do. You can't change what other people, whether or not other people wear masks. But I do think that it is important to remember that the things that you do have control over are things that can be very useful. One of the most important things for all of this is to go ahead and, there's one of the things that I think that I want to talk about this. I'm not really the person for whom this is the most helpful. My method of coping with this has been a bit different. For one thing, I have been working and I've been seeing people. I'm not living entirely alone, and the people that I'm living with are not frustrating me with the way that they are treating coronavirus. So I have less stress than some others. But if you do have stress, if you are in that situation, then there are some things that you can do. One thing that I think that maybe is worth trying, and you see me, sipping my tea here, that's an important thing. Take some time. In fact, maybe even the first thing, if because one of the things that they always say is good when you're trying to deal with this kind of stress is to have a schedule, to have people to have a sense of regularity to things, to set a routine. I'm one of those people for whom routine has not been the most useful thing, but it is good for many things. And for me, being resistant to routine, I'm going to suggest these in small pieces. And I think maybe the first thing is this, and I think this is a really good one that I heard, and that is schedule regular breaks. And I don't mean like, a break from work. I mean a break from whatever it is you're doing. I mean, you might be spending your whole day on your phone, reading about stressful things, or just maybe you're looking up memes or whatever, that kind of thing, or you just even don't even know what you're doing. Okay, you're just existing and just being in this data moment. All right, but set an alarm. Okay, set an alarm 1, 2, 3 times a day, and when that alarm goes off, stop what you're doing. Okay, even if you're kind of having fun doing it, whatever, stop, because this is the time where you're breaking out of that, where you're going to be taking a moment for yourself. Now, you've got a few things you can do. One, you can focus on breathing, even if all you need to, even if you're doing fine for that moment, and all you need to do for that moment is go take 10 deep breaths. Okay, so you can probably see what happened to me there. You can hear I've slowed down, I'm less, right? Okay, so Even if that's all you're doing, take that moment to find that calm, to find that peace for a moment. If you need to do more, if you need to, do the whole thing, and, plenty of YouTube videos where you can find meditation or you can relax and calm, any of those things, great. Do that. If all you need to do is take 10 deep breaths, then take 10 deep breaths. It is amazing how much difference it just made to me. And I wasn't even feeling particularly stressed out before this. So I would definitely say schedule like regular breaks. Schedule an alarm, set an alarm, and be nice to me. Whatever the reminder is, because you need to be nice to you. You need to take care of yourself in these moments. And if that is the first thing you do to building a routine for yourself, or if that's the only thing you do, then fine. Because it is incredibly powerful to be able to just build off those little pieces. So there's other things. If you want to really, take this whole routine thing, there's many things you can do. One thing, again, kind of going from broad to kind of narrow, one thing I'd say is write down some goals, like maybe weekly type thing. Nothing where you're like really like feeling like but things that you need to do. And ideally, keep in mind that maybe I should clarify. There's goals, there's tasks. Goals are the big things, tasks are the small things you need to do to achieve that goal. So maybe don't even write down the weekly goals, write down the tasks that you need. So think about what those are that you need to do. I need to look at dealing with some stuff, getting up to Georgia and that kind of thing, and that's got a few tasks that I got to cross off my list. I need to go ahead and I need to do some things to get make my house cleaner, and to do that I need to finish putting together my storage area. It's together, but I need to put in a floor. So those are things that would go on my list. Not suddenly fix my life and stop being messy. So yeah, break it down to something you can deal with. So identify important tasks. There's other techniques. So let's talk about a kind of funny one. This is one which I do not find to be the most useful thing, but I find it I find it to be at least amusing. And basically there are 3 steps to it. It's called Eat the Frog. Okay, and probably guess why it's called Eat the Frog. Do you want to eat a frog? I don't want to eat a frog. Not particularly to it. So, first you do is you go out and you find your frog. Okay? What is the thing for the day that you don't want to do? Not even that. More importantly, what is the hardest task that is also most important? So, kind of a combination, that sweet spot of it's hard, it's important, I need to do it. That right there. Pick one. And then do it. As soon as you identify, do it. Do it first thing in the morning. And here's the thing. Once you've got that done, you can feel a whole lot better about your day. Even, like for me, I'll eat the frog and I'll call it a day sometimes. I'll be like, you know what? I'm good. That was the thing that I needed to do. All right. I am going to relax for the rest of the day. I am going to chill. I am not going to stress out for the rest of the day. I ate the frog. I'm fine. Okay. And that can be anything. For me, it can be from, taking my notes on some writing that I'm doing. Maybe for you, it's, finally, laying down some, I don't know, whatever you may do, lay down some music. The thing is that with these, with approaching it that way, where you do the hardest thing first, then the upshot is that you're going to finally feel good about what you're doing. I mean, even if the rest of the day sucks, even if you start off with, like, you've got, you started off by eating frog, but everything after that is just like, oh my God, like say you do the really hard thing in your life, in your personal life that you need to do, whatever it is, but then you're a stock day trader or whatever it is, and your entire day of day trading stock kind of sucks, well, wouldn't it be great if it would be, at least you didn't have to worry about it so much. Frog legs from the Chinese buffet are quite good. I do think that although honestly, the Chinese buffet ones kind of scare me slightly. I don't remember frog legs being a Chinese one, but at the same time, I think it's French, and I've had enough French food to say that some of it is excellent, and some of it is like, why are you eating that? But on the other hand, when we're eating frogs, may as well start with the legs, right? Okay, but anyway. But there's a few techniques that you can do to go ahead and just get things rolling. The other thing is that one thing I'm doing here is I'm trying to do some, for myself here, is I'm doing these streams. Even if there ain't nobody here, thank you for everybody who's here. This is actually more people than I've had any time on this stream. So, and you can tell there's not a whole lot of people here. But that's fine. I'm doing this regularly. I'm doing this at least every Friday and Saturday night, just as a time to kind of be doing something regularly to talk about it. So, but it can be other things. You don't need to, take this on and grab it and deal with it right in its face all the time. You can, if you need to, just have a regular thing where, depending on your relationship with your family, call somebody. You got a brother or a sister or somebody like that you need to call. Call them once a week. Hey, I'm going to call you every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock because that's when I know I can talk to you and I like talking to you, so expect to hear from me then. And it's weird. You even, if that's part of your routine, you even start thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to tell them when I talk to them about this thing. So... And another thing about all of it, and this is something which is, again, I'm not the person to preach this, but one of the important things is to go ahead and spend a little bit of time tidying up. You don't have to clean the whole thing. You don't have to pick up everything, but just spend a moment picking up a couple things before you go to bed at the end of the night. There's still plenty more to do, I'm sure, but that's okay. There's 2 less things to pick up, or however many less things to pick up in the morning. And even though it's small, it's a thing that you are doing, and it helps. Now, admittedly, in my mind, I'm thinking of the way that I've dealt with this thing in the past, where, let's be honest, my house has been kind of a mess when I've been under tremendous stress. And yeah, it's not great. All right, let's talk about some of the other ways of dealing with some of this coronavirus anxiety. Because the thing is that one of the most important parts is to remember that, like I said, we have things that we control, things that we can't control. Now, the problem is that we quite often don't understand how many things we can control that we assume we can't, and how many things we can't control that all of our magical thinking in the world is not going to allow us to control. I can hope and wish so many things about politics right now, that we had some situation where this was, not a complete nightmare when it came to dealing with diseases and, just how we deal with pandemics. Oh, good. Yes, no, I understand. I actually generally, Do not do anything that Jordan Peterson tells me either. The only reason why I'm saying do it is don't clean up because Jordan Peterson told you to. I'm saying do it quite honestly because, well, hell, it's easier to pick up one or two things. It's not even I'm saying make clean up. I'm just saying feel better about picking up one or two things. As I can't even get tea in my face. Okay. Now there we go. Really together there. All right. But like I say, some of the things that we can control that we don't know that we can control are even some of the signs of stress that we're having. Like that 10 deep breaths. I was really surprised by how much difference that made for me. And that's because of a thing. Oh, wow. That wind is blowing my background all over the place. Okay. All right. But there's auto stress. Auto stress is the stuff that's happening that you don't know, and so your body's tightening up. So you've got things like muscle tension, aches and pains. It's like, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I do believe that fibromyalgia is a real condition, but I also think that there's certain people who get diagnosed with fibromyalgia, certain other disorders, where quite honestly, it is just such a deep level of auto stress where it's gotten to the point where it has affected them physically, and you can't even call it psychological anymore because it is fully in the body by that point in time. But I do think that, stress does that. Another one, of course, is headaches. I've been having those a fair amount recently. More than I usually do. Nothing really bad, but just, the little ones here and there. And again, that's the stress, and grinding my teeth here and there, the few teeth I got left and back. That's a big one. Another one that I do need to mention, though. So I'm gonna talk about what it is, and I'm gonna tell a little story, and then I'm gonna wrap back to here. So bear with me. But one of the biggest signs of auto stress is chest tightening and feeling like you can't breathe. Okay, but here's the problem. That is also one of the signs of coronavirus. Oh my God, is it stress or is it coronavirus? What is it? Oh my God, I'm stressing out so much about having coronavirus. I've given myself stress, and now I can't breathe. And right. Okay. So, here's the thing. When you feel that, take a look at the larger scope of things. Chest tightness and feeling like you can't breathe, especially when it comes on quickly, quite often is the kind of thing that is going to be an anxiety thing. Now, for me, chest tightness and feeling like I can't breathe, I had this so bad in my early 20s that I could not, in fact, I actually thought I was having a very serious heart issue. I went into the doctor, and the doctor says, and the doctor says, and I say to the doctor, I think I might be dying. I think I have my heart condition, and I should check that out. Okay. I think I have a heart condition. I might, what's going to happen to me? And, he checked me out completely, and, as it turns out, I did have a heart condition. I have, I have a heart condition, and you know what I have? I have a heart murmur. Yeah. Not a big one. I mean, that just means that my heart kind of pumps a little funny sometimes. Nothing huge, and he had to listen to my heart for a good long while to hear anything. And quite honestly, there's times when I think he only told me that so that he would have something to tell me, so I wouldn't be like, what, you're just telling me nothing so that it's all in my head? I don't know. Maybe that's why he told me that. But there was something. And you know what you do in that situation? Nothing. There isn't anything you do for that. It's not a big deal. It's not anything to worry about. It wasn't anything to worry about when I was in my early 20s. It isn't anything to worry about now. So, but I was convinced that I had this tightness. It's sometimes it started in the back, but it made it all the way to here, and like it was here, and like it was so tight, and I like try moving my arm, and I'd lift my arm, and I have a stiffness in my left arm, and I'd be like, oh, I've got tightness in the chest and stiffness in my arm, and like, oh, and I was convinced, like I had days where I was convinced that I was having a heart attack. I mean, just over and over and over again, and heart attacks don't work that way. Okay, but I had days like that. And finally, the doctor told me, oh yeah, you've got a bit of a heart murmur, but you're not having a heart attack, bro. That's not what's going on. He was a younger doctor, so I mean, in my mind, he says bro. But yeah, and really, it was all just anxiety, and a lot of it was just, being a 20-something, realizing, oh my god, I did it again. Okay, hopefully we don't lose connection this time. Thank you for everyone who's being patient with me, and yes, before I stream next time, I will fix this much better so this stops happening. Okay, so let's check that frame again real quick. Okay, good enough. Alright. But yeah, so that's the situation. Remember that when it comes on suddenly, alright, like that, unless you are actually having a heart attack and you were prone to heart attacks and that kind of thing, then it is very likely stress, okay? Even if you think it's a heart attack like I did, it's still probably stress. If it's happening now during coronavirus, where there's 3 times as much depression going on, then it's probably stress. What I'm trying to say to you is that it's probably stress. Don't panic. Definitely, take an intelligent, measured approach about it, but it's probably stress. The upshot of that is 10 deep breaths can sometimes make a tremendous difference. If that makes any difference, then it is just stress. If it makes enough difference where you feel better for a few minutes and then you're back in that state, it is just stress. It's just that the stress is so overwhelming, you can't get out of it. And oh my God, I get it. I understand it. I can't tell you how many times I have been there myself on that one. Okay, so as far as the question about the kind of tea that I recommend for relaxation, I actually do not have a recommendation for relaxation tea at this point in time. I'm trying several different ones. What I will say is, oh shoot, I can't remember what it is. I'm currently taking, oh, I'll tell you about it in a minute. But anyway, I'm taking a little bit of melatonin when I go to bed at night. I'm at that age, it helps out, it helps me sleep a little bit, it's a good idea. But as far as the tea goes right now, this is a cinnamon tea. Let me see what the little bag says. Oh my goodness, I am drinking a Lipton tea. This is not a very high quality tea, but it is a cinnamon relaxed tea that they have. Which is good because, hey, you know what? I need to relax, but I don't want to fall asleep during the middle of this live stream. And it's been kind of a day. So, got sent home early from work today. Yes, I did. Now, it wasn't me. It's the fact that apparently here we have enough rain going on that it in fact flooded the shop that I was working in during high tide. Yes, the water was so high that in my little spot where I sit, so when I say shop, keep in mind that I'm talking about an outdoor space here, so it's an outdoor workspace, and the little spot that I sit in, I had to stack bricks 3 layers high to keep my feet dry during high tide. It was kind of amusing. Anyway, it's been a little bit damp here, but yeah, so it's been an interesting day. Came home early. That was kind of a good thing, kind of a bad thing. All right. So, now, let's talk a little bit about some of the forms that anxiety will sort of take form in here these days, because this is a point. Oh, David's is a pretty good entry for loose leaf tea. Got a good jasmine tea called Buddha's Blend. Okay, I will try that. Thank you. In fact, if you can, when you get a chance, type at me where in particular you get that tea, because I do not know where to start on that. Okay, so here's some things that anxiety does. Now, keep in mind that anxiety begins as a good thing. It is something where you are protecting yourself. You are taking care of what's important, what's important in your life, looking out for harms. So one of the things is threat scanning. So this is your mind sort of searching around in your environment for things that you are afraid of, okay? Now, this can be any number of ways. We do it an awful lot through the phone here, right? You scan on your phone, what should I be worried about? Oh my God. Ruth Gator Ginsburg died. That gives you a lot to worry about, right? Okay. Oh, goodness. Trump says that he's going to fill that post as fast as he can. Oh, my God. So many things to skate. Okay. First of all, watch your information diet. Be careful about what you're bringing in. I generally am not trying to bring in things into this talk that are, particularly, outside of bad stuff. So be careful. Watch out what your information diet is. Now, so two things. Don't be scanning the news all the time for coronavirus information. Just do your normal amount, or maybe less than that if it's stressing you out. The other thing is, don't be constantly going, oh, is that coronavirus? Oh, is that coronavirus? You know what? Ugh, I cough, I sneeze. Okay, here's the thing. You want to know something? Sneezing is not a major symptom of coronavirus. So, divisive? Okay, I'm confused. I should mention that the chat, I'm not trying to respond to the chat slow. It's just that the overall thing, I believe, takes about 30 seconds from when I'm talking to when it gets to you, and then you type, and it takes a minute to get to me, and you get the idea. So I'm a little slow on it. I wish it were quicker. If anybody wants has a thing where they want to talk for a while, call in on the line on the number that's posted at the top there, and I'll just put you up on the phone right here. I'll set you down right here, and we can talk in real time. I'm not going to try doing anything complex through the computer. That's just going to slow stuff down. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about things that are political but not coronavirus related if I can avoid it. So, or at least things that are stuff that's going to freak people out. Okay, so now another thing to remember is that anxiety is a useful tool sometimes when there are threats. And we sometimes need to understand how big the threat is. Now, when we are thinking about how big the threat is, it's hard to do that without the right information. And we don't have the right information. Okay, we know some of what's going on nationally. We know some of what's going on with, the virus and that kind of thing, and what's going on. But I do not know the next person who's bringing me a deliver of groceries. I do not know what kind of precautions they are taking. I assume that they are not taking any, so I'm very cautious about it. But the thing is that I don't know. So the thing is that it is very easy to catastrophize. And this is where you go, oh, goodness, okay. And I mean, a good example of this is maybe not even directly related to virus stuff. It's related to, having to be in quarantine. I'm going to be in quarantine so long I lose my job, and I can't, I've been doing my job from a distance for so long that when I go in, I'm not going to know how to talk to any of these people. Or, I'm going to go in and this little thing that I said in, that I typed up in a chat and is really bothering me, but now that I have to deal with that person in person, oh my God, it's going to be the worst office drama ever, okay? Whatever it is, don't make it into the worst thing, okay? Other examples, and just remember, okay? If you have that moment where you go, oh my God, everybody I know is going to die and disappear, okay? That's not going to happen, okay? Yes, this is a scary virus out there, but it is not that scary. Remember, worst case scenario, 1 to 2, and in some cases, 3 out of every 100 people are going to die. That's horrible. That's horrendous. But that does not mean that you're going to lose everyone around you, or even the most important people around you. So remember that, okay? So whenever you think like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my daughter, I'm going to lose my son, I'm going to lose my parents, I'm going to lose my sister, it's probably not going to happen. That is making a catastrophe out of this, and you don't need to. That is what is also sometimes referred to as borrowing trouble. That's going out and looking for trouble, something that's going to hurt you that you don't need to be doing. The other thing about this is that as soon as you feel this, another version of catastrophizing, as I was talking about before, you feel a bit of tightness in your chest, and next thing you know, your mind is telling you that you have coronavirus, your life is in danger, you better go out and get a test as fast as you can. No, don't. It's not. Okay? It's fine. Now, again, anxiety, worry, these have actual reasons. Okay? But worry has a reason. So remember that, however, that worry needs to be focused. So, thank you, Celeste. Yeah. Anxiety is rough these days. It is hard. Now, here's the thing, though. Okay, and I'm just going to say this, and this is kind of an important thing to say to everybody, not just you, Celeste, but to everybody who hears this. There's a lot of us who are coming into this with, plenty of mental health issues as it stands. I mean, we're not perfect as we started, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that I wasn't, the model of, psychological health when, in January of 2020 or before this started happening. But that's okay. The important part is to remember that you're still working on it, that this is something, that this isn't even a setback. This is a situation for now, that having anxiety and stress and being afraid to leave the house, these are reactions which, honestly, I wish more people had been having. Because if we could leave the house by now. So it's not an unreasonable reaction. So don't feel like you're having a setback because it feels like a psychological issue. It is a psychological thing, but it's not an issue. It's not a problem that you're having. It is a real reaction to what's going on. So if you're afraid, if you're scared, if you're having anxiety, okay, that's fine. The thing is just remember that there's many steps that you can take to reduce that. And let's talk about that, okay? We worry a lot. One of the things you can do is you can take your worries from hypothetical worries and go, wait, okay, there's so many things I can worry about hypothetically, and concern it to practical worries, okay? Practical worries are things like, well, did the person who brought the groceries, were they wearing a mask? Do I think they were probably clean? Okay, well, if I don't, then I'm going to get out the spray bottle. I'm going to spray things down. Okay, that's a practical worry. A hypothetical worry. What if, when I'm at work, somebody sneezes or somebody coughs so hard that I literally get wet on my face? Right? Okay, that's kind of a disgusting thought, but what if? Well, that's a hypothetical worry. That's not a very realistic worry either. So remember that you can take a look at worries and go, okay, seriously? How likely is that? How likely is that? And then that's one way of telling hypothetical worries. And hypothetical worries, again, we do it for a good evolutionary biologic reason. Keeps us safe. But if that's all we're doing, then it's not doing us any good. Practical worries, those are the ones where we can take charge of things in our lives. Now, another thing I just want to point out is that there is sort of I'm engaging a little bit in some of this right here, and so I want to be careful, okay, because I am doing it in a positive fashion. Okay, and there is many reasons to do it in a positive fashion, but if you do it in a negative fashion, it can be very bad. And this is the sort of fortune-telling thing. And this is where, I am predicting things. I am predicting that by August of 2021, we will be able to get back to our lives. This is not a fact, okay? And I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm not an expert. I don't know. But, okay, also remember when there are negative predictions, okay? For example, I'm going to be stuck inside for so long that, I forget how to deal with people. Well, that could actually be a self-fulfilling prophecy. It can be one where, my mental health will continue deteriorating and I'll have to go on medication. These are things which are just predictions. And the thing about predictions like this is that they do become self-fulfilling prophecies if you're not careful. Excuse me. Kind of a serious question. What if the suburb I live in is particularly Floridian, and sometimes I'm the only one in the entire store wearing a mask, including the workers? Okay. Well, my first response is if it is a store that you can get it from some other place, then do it that way. Now this really just depends. Okay, my first answer to you is this. It really depends on the level that you feel is appropriate for your life to take precautions. It depends on, do you need to take these precautions to feel safe? And if that's what you need to do to feel safe so that you're not constantly stressed out, then do this. If you don't need to do these things, then don't. Okay? But you can do a lot of things. First of all, if you can find another store, go to another store. That's what I do, but obviously if you're in an area where everything's like that, then there's only so much you can do. I know that I have been needing to get auto parts recently, and I have been having, and I've noticed that auto parts stores are not real hardcore mask-wearing places. I'm just going to say that. So I've been to 2 or 3, and I found the auto parts store where they seem to wear either wear masks the most, or they've got their area back there with all their glass partition between them and us. And now all I have to worry about is all the other, jackanapes in the store who may not be wearing masks. And so on that note, another thing is choose your shopping times. If you can choose a time, I'm working in the morning, but, morning's not a bad time. Yeah, exactly. You can just go a little bit away. Now, if you can go 20 minutes away and stock up on everything to get your stuff, then that's great. But there's a few things that you can do. So another thing that you can do is a lot of these stores, depending on what it is, for example, auto parts, I can call ahead. I can say, hey, I want to buy this item. Most of them, a fair number of them, you call them up, you give them your credit card information, they take it, or you do an online order, whatever. There's a lot of ways of doing it, and you can call them up and you drive up and they will take it up to your car, and you don't even get out of your car. You do a curbside pickup. A lot of places are doing that right now. Call around. You can probably find some places that are doing that too. The other thing I'm going to say to you is this, is that we have been told over and over and over again that the mask really doesn't help the wearer. It helps other people. And this is to some extent true, but I am going to say this with I'm going to add not facts to this. Okay? I'm going to add opinion to this. Okay? Now, I am going to say that there are some studies that are indicating that some of this is true, but I can't cite any of them right now. So I'm just going to say, let's just call this opinion. But, okay, so when this started happening, I started making masks. This is one of the first ones I made. This one has 3 layers. I like the 3 layers of mask because it just makes me feel a little bit safer. Now, a few other things about this mask that I want to point out. First of all, goes around the head and then ties back here. Okay? Now, the reason why I have it like that is because I work in a job where I really just want to be wearing my mask all day, and I don't want something that's making my ears do this. I mean, my ears stick out far enough as it is. Thank you. Okay, so I instead have this one which wraps around the head. By having one that wraps around the head and having this tie on it, I can make this very tight against my face. Another thing about this is that these ones are set up so that this is loose, okay? And what that means is that it gathers, okay? And you see it goes from wide to kind of tight right there. And it actually makes it a little bit tighter. It makes it so that it fits on your face a little bit better. The last thing about it is that these ones have got a metal nose piece in them. Right here I'm using a little piece of floral wire. And then I just kind of insert it in this upper seam right here. Now these things give me a fairly tight seal on my face with a mask. And between that and I don't have them handy, but for work I've got like these safety glasses. But safety glasses, large sunglasses, anything like that, just to keep stuff from getting in your eyes, those two things right there will make a tremendous amount of difference in keeping you from getting sick. Now, obviously, follow the same things. Don't do what you see me doing constantly during the live stream. I'm a face toucher. I've got a mustache. I touch my face all the time. Don't do that, okay? At least not in those environments. The mask helps for that, obviously. Stay clean, wash up afterwards, so on and so forth. And I'll be really honest with you. I work in a situation where people are going by all the time without masks. I have a good 10 feet of distance from them, 12 feet of distance from them, but people all the time are going by without masks. There's children coming by. You've seen some of the things about children. Children are super spreaders, and one little, one cough from a kid is, 10 times more germs or whatever it is than an adult. And okay, and I got kids coming through. Here's the truth. If I've caught coronavirus by this point in time, I've caught an asymptomatic version of it. Simple as that, because I have not had any severe coronavirus symptoms yet at this point. So, I'm going to say this. I love the fact that we were told to wear masks for others. We were told to wear masks for the people in our lives, and that they wouldn't protect us. And that made it a much more altruistic thing. But if you did decide to wear a mask anyway, well, then as it turns out, you were protecting yourself. As I mentioned in my live stream last week, there's been a bit of a study that shows, a short version, it shows that if you, that people who when people catch coronavirus, when they go in and they're diagnosed with it, if they have a high viral load at the time of diagnosis, that is a predictor of prognosis. High viral load means you're likely to die. Low viral load means you're likely to survive. In very broad terms. By the same token, it may be that you can inoculate yourself unintentionally. Now, if you go out intentionally trying to inoculate yourself, you're probably just going to get sick. But if you're in a situation like many of us are, where people are not wearing masks and you might get a little bit of coronavirus, you might get just enough coronavirus to have an asymptomatic case of coronavirus and develop the antibodies on your own. And that, to me, is the thing that is beautifully poetic about it. If you were one of those people who wore a mask, you wore a mask to protect others, but you truly saved yourself in that moment. I just love that. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit, one last thing about kind of anxiety. And this is one of the cases where it's hard to see an evolutionary reason for it to be this way. But that is, we often have emotional reasoning. And this is, where, you have the whole thing where, if you feel scared, it's hard. When you feel scared, it is hard to believe that just because you're it's hard to believe that just because you're scared, that doesn't mean you're in danger, okay? You can have a reaction of being scared. You can fully develop into that reaction and not be in danger for any number of reasons. For me, one that applies and, is maybe not as much of a, typical anxiety thought, but one that applies for me is I feel guilty. So I must have done something wrong, right? That's a problem that I have a lot, quite honestly. I think that I probably have messed up some people in my life by doing that sometimes. So, all right. Let's see. Checking the chat again real quick. Okay. So let's just talk about facts. Okay. Fact. And again, these are facts maybe to tell yourself when you're starting to freak out, when you're worried about stuff. Okay. The vast majority of people who contract coronavirus only experience mild symptoms. The vast majority of cases. Okay, you can go on YouTube. One of my favorite YouTubers, William Osman, his girlfriend caught it, or his caregiver, as he calls her, caught it, and he assumed that he had it because they, at that point in time when he caught it, when they caught it, they weren't giving out tests to everybody. They had few enough tests, and they said, okay, if she's got it, assume you have it. And he's like, okay, well, I assume that I have coronavirus, but he showed no symptoms. She had relatively mild symptoms. She felt pretty freaked out and that kind of thing, but he was there. And there are some YouTube videos where you're going to see this. As I say, William Osman, I don't know if there's other ones where they like freak out completely and it's going to mess you up, but what happened to him seemed to me to be like a fairly typical thing that happened. She was really scared. Oh my God, she was scared. Okay, I would be too. But in the end, she didn't go to the doctor and she was fine. So remember, most people, even if they catch coronavirus, is mild symptoms. Okay, severe symptoms that lead to death. Okay, death, horrible. Happens though, okay, on this one, sucks, is 2% of cases. Okay, now we also know a lot more than we used to. Take vitamin D. Okay, that is one big one. All right, that makes a huge difference. There's a variety of things that you can do that can reduce the severity of coronavirus if you catch it. Keep this in mind. All right, also, learn how to wash your hands. If you don't know how to wash your hands, there's good videos here on YouTube that'll tell you how to wash your hands. Wash your hands in a way so that people actually are, so that you're actually, pardon me, so that you're actually getting it clean and you're not just kind of like, oh, yeah, I did fine. Okay. Let's see. Just follow the basic advice and you're usually in good space. Another thing is that when you are thinking about the things that you can control and the things that you can't control, because this is the thing, is that we want to have so much control over a situation like this because, let's be honest, we ain't got any. This is a situation where it would be really nice if we could just, know that everything was going to be okay. But it really doesn't seem like it's going to. So we're just going to have to deal with the uncertainty. And that's fine, because there are some things that we can be certain about. I would say that we can be certain that if nothing else, okay, I'm not going to make this that hot of a take, okay? But I'm going to say that by end of 2021... life will be, at least when it comes to coronavirus, life will be back to normal. Okay, so now let's talk about the things that are in your control. Okay, one of the things that's in your control is the things that you do to build resilience. Okay, again, I'm going to harp on some of these points again. Build your support network. Talk to those old friends. Even it's coronavirus. Okay, now is as good of an excuse as anybody to talk to somebody. Call them up. Talk to that family member who you only last time you saw them at was the funeral, but they said something that was really important to you. Whatever. Okay, spend the time to rebuild those connections. That is just incredibly important. And I'm going to say this, what else you got to do? All right? Another thing is focus on the things that are important to you. So hopefully, when I say this, one of the things that's important to you is the people in your lives and having quality interactions. And again, building that support network, part of having that. But really ask yourself, what is important to me? This is a big question. If you can come out of coronavirus actually knowing what's important to you in your life, then coronavirus did you some good. I mean, because most people never figure this out. But if you can do this, if you can make these things that you do during this time, then I'd say you're probably set for the rest of your life. Because if you can pull it off now, then you're probably good. But yeah, figure out what is actually important to you. Focus on that. Don't base it on, excuse me. expectations of others, what's going on in the outside world, that what the media box is telling you, what I'm telling you. Don't base it on any of that. Just figure out where you want to be, what you want to be doing, and who you want to be with. And not all of those are going to have easy answers. If you can answer those, then you're in pretty good shape. Focus. Another thing that you can control is your information, your environment, okay, your mental environment, okay. And I don't mean what's going on in here so much, but you can have some control over what's going on around you. Now, you very easily may be in a situation where you've got somebody in your family or somebody in your life who's like, oh my God, did you hear the latest thing? That if you do this and if you twist this a certain way, and then boom, next thing you know, you've got coronavirus. Okay, if you've got somebody like that in your life, then there is only so much that you can do. But if you can, do try and control the information that you're getting. You can also try and control how you deal with somebody who presents that information to you that way. So, one of the things that you can do if somebody's talking to you like that is say, look, I need you to speak calmly and clearly and tell me what I can do about this. Because if what I need to do about this is not twist this thing this way and I won't catch coronavirus, and that's all this person is telling me, then good. Because the rest of that is stuff that's just going to freak me out. That's all I need to know. All right? But seriously, control your information diet as much as you can. One of the reasons why John Krasinski's Some Good News was, popular, was that, that was a good way. That was a good way of controlling your information diet. Then he sold it to some company and that kind of thing. So there's YouTubers who've been doing this forever. Okay, find some. Okay, I will link to some sometime if you folks like. All right, so another thing, of course, is this whole building a routine. Right? Okay, building a routine is a good thing. But if it's become the ball and chain around, if it's becoming a new ball and chain around your neck, don't do it. But having a routine that and this is really the thing that I'm going to say. Build your routine like this, okay? Like I was talking about earlier. My just 2 cents worth. Start by setting a time to do a thing. Do that thing at the times that you do it. Now, if you feel better after you've done that thing, schedule it to do again. I felt really good after taking those 10 deep breaths. Okay? So, I will schedule that to do again. Actually, I haven't scheduled that at all. I'm going to schedule it to do that. I'm going to schedule to do that probably right around what? 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. every morning. That's right around a time when I'm at work and I finally finished getting everything set up, but not a whole lot of people are coming through, and it's quiet enough. I could find a minute to take 10 deep breaths, and if I feel good about that, I'm going to keep doing it. And that, I would say, is one of the best ways to build a routine. Is build the things that make you feel good into your routine. Build a routine around those things. And when I say good, I mean not necessarily just like, oh, I feel good after taking 10 deep breaths. It can be other things like, oh, I know I should brush my teeth every day, and then I go and I put brushing my teeth in my routine, and I brush my teeth, and I feel good after brushing my teeth. Then that should be a thing that's in your routine. On the other hand, you brush your teeth like, I brush my teeth. Then brush your teeth just so that, the people around you don't have to smell your breath. But otherwise, it shouldn't be part of your routine. It shouldn't, that's not the kind of thing that you're going to be trying to build here. Another thing that I think is important, again, is to remember in your control is not necessarily your mental state, because that is so hard to just say, oh, just control it and it'll be fine. But what you can do is you can create relaxing situations for yourself. Sometimes it's easy for us to mistake what we always do for something that's actually relaxing. sometimes it takes a little more work even to do something that's actually relaxing, but the overall benefit will be better. A good, the prime example of this would be to go out and do yoga. Do yoga. Um, there's several good yoga people on YouTube. That's one where it takes work, but you will feel more relaxed after it. So other things. Again, I keep harping on this, but it's a good thing. In your control are the people that you talk to, and a lot of this is, at least the people you talk to online, not so much in your life per se, but talking to people who are going to bring you energy, who, I'm not saying cut the negative people out of your life, because right now we're all having negative moments, okay? We're all having times where it's like, oh God, I don't feel like getting out of bed today because, this. But I'd say only cut those people out of your life if that's all they are doing. If they're only doing that to you so that they feel better about themselves, then they are being an emotional vampire. If they are not giving something back to you, then be careful about that. If you're the type of person who can handle that and it makes you feel better to have that for people, then do that, but do that in limited doses. Caregiver, care for thyself. So anyway, but then of course also cultivate connection. Okay, again, the same thing. Go through your contacts, talk to the people. Talk. Even if it was somebody who you didn't have that great of a conversation with last week, talk to them again. At this point in time, I'm saying talk to people, keep talking to people, and until they say, "Why are you talking to me? I don't want you to talk to me anymore." Okay, because very few people are going to do that. So. Other things you can do that I kind of want to just touch on here is seeking support and offering support. I'm here offering support because it does help me. Just the process of me sitting here for the space of 2 hours, trying to fill dead air talking about positive things about coronavirus makes me think in a positive way about it. It makes me think about the ways that this is going to get better. To say, for me to say, look, we can make plans. They're a long ways away, but we can make a plan. That is something to me. And so by the same token, you can find support. There's various things online. There's a thing called 5 Cups. Plenty of other things where you can find free support online, people to talk to. Therapy, people who are not licensed, people who are licensed. So, just kind of take that with a grain of salt, but there's definitely help. Now, let's talk just briefly. This is on a list of things that are in control, and I'm not trying to get too off topic here. But voting and activism are both things that are within your control. And so right now I'm going to digress. I'm going to talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg for just a moment. And if that's the kind of thing that you need to focus on right now, then okay. I'm not sure this is the kind of thing, this would be a windmill that you necessarily want to tilt at, because this one, in my mind, has a large possibility of having a disappointing ending. But here's the thing. It's not the short-term ending when it comes to voting and activism that really is making the difference. It's being there, it's showing up that makes the difference. So, if you haven't registered to vote, register to vote. I'm not going to tell you to vote for one of the major party candidates. There's a lot of problems. I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to vote because I still don't know what's going on with so much of this. But I can tell you that that is a voice that you have. If you have not registered to vote, go out and do that. Get it put together. It's really important. Now, the other thing is that activism, and now let's talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg for a moment. There is some activism that you can do. Um, there is Susan Collins, who's the senator from Maine, who came really close to not approving Brett Kavanaugh. And maybe saying that, she can save her seat, if she does not approve a Trump pick, basically, of any sort, and allows it to go to the next president. Now, I'll be honest with you. I am not in favor of allowing this Supreme Court nominee to be chosen by the next president, generally speaking. However, this is Trump, and this is a situation where this precedent has already been set. This was set in 2016 when Obama was denied a Senate hearing for his nominee, Merrick Garland, and Merrick Garland was simply not put on the court. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Merrick Garland was, in my opinion, pretty damn middle of the road. Okay, I mean, I'm sure the Republicans had all sorts of horrible things to say about him at the time, but I would have really, especially for who he was replacing, he was actually a little bit more conservative than the guy he was replacing. Yeah, he was actually more conservative than the guy he was replacing. So, and Obama was like that. Obama was very much a middle of the road kind of guy. He was like, he campaigned on hope and change, but, primarily he was like, let's work within the system and let's get everybody all under one tent and let's all make this all work together. And, it was very democratic politics is what it was. But nevertheless, it was with the right spirit. But that said, couldn't get his nominee through. I don't think Trump should get 3 of them because he gets the one that the Republicans took from Obama and gave to Trump. So, yeah. There's also some hope that maybe Lindsey Graham is going to stop this. I don't know. Probably during the course of the day today, he said that doesn't matter. He literally posted, he has a video where he says, you can use this against me. I don't think that, for the end of a 4-year term or an 8-year term, when there's an election going on, that there should be, that's when we should be picking a new Supreme Court candidate, new Supreme Court nominee. And so we'll see. Maybe Lindsey Graham. What the hell am I saying? I am literally saying maybe Lindsey Graham will be a voice of reason in all this. I don't know. Okay. I think really it depends. I think one of the things that really, really honestly can make a big difference is if Lindsey Graham believes that Trump is not going to be in office, that he's going to lose the election. Lindsey Graham had all sorts of snarky things to say about Trump in the beginning. And I think the only reason why he falls in line with Trump now is because Trump's got power. Okay, but anyway, I've gone way off on a tangent here about voting and activism. But the point is that Susan Collins of Maine is vulnerable. And if people put pressure on her and donate to her opposition or say we will put a fund together that will go to your opposition if you vote the wrong way on this, which is what was tried before, but the elections were 2 years away. There's now an election just weeks away. All right. And I think this is a valid way of maybe approaching this. Now, it has been brought up that maybe they will, in a lame duck session, just approve whoever Trump wants to approve and just say, damn the people, and I don't care what you wanted. There's a certain thing about lame duck sessions that I think is weird that we even do them in this country. But, yeah. Okay, so those are some of the things that you can control. Oh, let's talk about 2 more things, just briefly. Okay. Eating well and exercise. Okay. So, exercise, again, if you can get any kind of exercise in your house that makes you feel good, and you can do it on a regular basis, and it's something you can find, do it. For me, I would begin by recommending yoga. Yoga is by far the best thing. Does that sink need to be on that long? Yoga, I think, is probably one of the best things that it could be. And just to start off with, it's really simple. and then that can develop to other things. Some people like Pilates, stuff like that. But also, if you can just eat better, that makes a big difference. So, pretty huge. You're good. Do what you need to do. Okay. All right. So, then there's things that are outside of your control. And these are things which, let's just talk about it briefly. Okay. You can't control other people's decisions. Okay. Those of you who are living with idiots, I'm sorry you're living with idiots. Okay. My heart goes out to you. If you can find a way, okay, and this is one of the things, again, make contact with your peoples, make contact with more people, grow this network not just to people that you used to know and that don't talk to anymore, but talk to other people as much as you can, and maybe you can find a place where you can live with people that are taking it as seriously as you are. Maybe you can find a work situation, maybe somebody knows a job, I'll have to find it, but I have a list that is actually regularly maintained of work from home jobs. I'm going to post it in the next live stream. But there's so many of these things. So you can't control other people's decisions. You can kind of control the environment that you're in. You can't control other people's health. You can't control whether or not they get sick. You can't control whether or not they get better. You can't control whether or not they take care of themselves. Remember these things. Let go of these things. You can't control what the news is saying, okay? Because there are so many things that the news is saying that after a while, I would recommend step away from it. Control your information diet. Go through friends, trusted sources. Remember, you can't control about schools. You can't control about the government actions. You can't control about the state of the healthcare system. You can't control about holidays being canceled. None of these things. These things are like traffic. You can't control the traffic. You can't control... I can't control whether or not the people who drive on my road, which I believe has a 25 mile per hour speed limit, don't come around that corner and hit the gas so hard that they go, roar, and you can hear them roaring all the way down the road. I can't control that. I can't control when I'm trying to get to work, when there's 3 guys with boat trailers all trying to get out to the beach at a very slow rate of speed. And that's sometimes the way that we have to look at this. This is one long traffic jam. Okay? We can make it through this. We can just turn on the radio and listen. We can put on Netflix. We can binge the latest shows. Oh my God, thank you for Animal Crossing. But damn, I wish there had been more to that game. Yeah, I mean, after a while, you can build your island up so much, right? So I mean, these are the things that, you just kind of gotta be like, well, it's traffic. I'm stuck in traffic right now. And I think that's actually a pretty good metaphor. Because eventually we'll get to our destination. Eventually we can get back to work. Eventually we can get back on to our lives. But there ain't anything we can do about the traffic right now. So, makes you feel safe. Roll up the windows. Turn on the AC. Crank up the radio. Sing, if you like. It's a traffic jam. We'll make it through. I mean, just remember, when it's outside your control, just let it be. Let's see. Now, one of the things that... Oh, we've got it covered here. Remote vacancies. Oh, yes, remote vacancies. Thank you. Yes. Oh, Discord. Okay, I will actually have to see about getting Discord. I like Discord, but I have no idea how to set up a new one. It's one of those things I'll have to figure out. I'll see about getting it put together. But yes, I'm planning on doing this every Saturday and Sunday night. Probably every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, but we'll see. But yeah, I will do messages and stuff like that. All right. If you can, I'm not sure if there's a way to send me a direct message over this thing or not. I will contact you here in a little bit about this. All right. But anyway, so remember that one of the things about anxiety is that it's those squirrels on the little wheels spinning around in your head and that kind of thing. But they're still just squirrels and wheels, and kind of just poke your finger in the cage and go, stop spinning like that. And that's something which I do. I mean, for me, that's actually my... Okay, cool. That's actually my technique that I've used, oh my God, since, I don't know, probably since I went to the doctor, like I was talking about an hour ago, where I had the tightness in my chest and it had so bad, and I started taking SSRI anti-anxiety medicine. And then I didn't like that, and so so what I do is I just go, stop thinking that way, stop it now, don't do that. It helps me. Some people it doesn't. It helps me. Okay. So that's a real that's like just complete negation. Okay. Complete negation like that is not helpful for a lot of people. And the only reason why it helped me was because I would like the way I bonked myself in the head there just now. I would literally do that. And it'd be like, stop, over and over again. And I mean, I'm sure the people looking at me at the time that I was developing that in my head, I probably looked crazy enough to lock up at any given moment. But, it helps me figure it out. Okay, but here is a more progressive, or a series of steps that you can progress through to see whether or not it is something that is actually going to be helpful. All right, and this is what I was talking about before, is called the think technique. Okay, THINK. Yes, they love these acronyms, don't they? All right, T is for true. Is this thought 100% true? Probably not. If not, what are the facts and what is opinion about that? All right. So when I say, we're all, when I say that as the vaccine becomes available, it's going to happen at a point where we all kind of see it coming. It's going to come up as a wave, and we're all going to be ready, and we're going to be ready to go out, and we're going to be like, did you get the vaccine yet? Can we go out and hang out yet? Can we do stuff? We're going to be like so ready. We're going to be like, boom. When I say that, that's opinion. It may not happen that way. Let's see what I have here. There's also facts, certain other facts. They're just going to tell you that what you're thinking is just complete bull, and remember that, if you think, oh, hold on, because, for example, because I touched that doorknob, I'm going to get coronavirus. That's catastrophic thinking. That's definitely not 100% true. Okay. So the next thing, all right, so that's T. For think, all right, the H in think is helpful. Is paying attention to this thought helpful, useful to me or other people? Okay, so in other words, is thinking about that doorknob all day helping? No. You've done what you can do about that doorknob. It's done. Okay, either you sanitized yourself afterward or you didn't. Okay, whatever the situation is, that is the situation. Continuing to think about it really doesn't help. If you truly think you have been exposed, then letting other people know, yes, but otherwise, no. All right, so TH, true and helpful. I, inspiring. Does the thought inspire me, or does it have the opposite effect? Most of these are going to have the opposite effect. Most of these thoughts are going to be ones that, if anything, they inspire you to just stay home. It's, kind of scary. Oh yeah. Vaccine problems. I agree. Yeah, a lot of people may not take the vaccine. We're going to see how it goes. I am quite curious to see what kind of things happen there. I mean, obviously, there's a whole group who's, I mean, the QAnons, I think, are right now convinced that anybody who takes a vaccine is going to become a pedophile. I'm not sure. I can't even tell anymore. But in any case, but that's not the kind of thing I'm thinking about, because that thought does not inspire me. Okay, I'm simply going to think about the fact that if enough people, and as you're pointing out, we don't actually have to have everybody take the vaccine, okay? The herd immunity thing also applies not just when enough people have caught it, enough people have died. It also applies when there is enough of the herd that has the vaccine, okay? However they get the immunity, if there's a herd immunity, we can still build herd immunity. And you're right, even with people who are, going to fall off the earth. By the way, I'm going to ask this. It's funny that you say about falling off the edge of the earth in reference to people who won't take the vaccine. Folding Ideas, I believe it was Folding Ideas, did a pretty good video on In Search of Flat Earth, where, it takes a while to get there, but eventually he connects, you realize that most of the Flat Earth people became QAnon and anti-vaxxers. And it's like, ooh, yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. It might be like that. Okay, so is it true? So the think technique, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Okay, well, the next question in the end, is it necessary? Is this an important thing for me to focus on the thought? Is it necessary to act on it? So again, I touched that dirty doorknob, okay? It's only necessary to act on it if somebody tells you, yeah, I licked my hand, I have coronavirus, and I wiped it all wet on that doorknob right before you touched it. Well, then it might be necessary to act on it. Now, there are a few ways you could act on it. One might be to strangle the person who just did that. But obviously, no. But yeah, an important thing would be to go ahead and get tested. Okay. Obviously, this is an extremely hypothetical worry. Okay. It's not a practical worry. But if that were actually to happen, then that would be a situation where you'd be necessary to act on it. The last thing about the think technique is ask yourself, is the thought kind? And this is in many ways. One of the most important things, one of the first things that you have to remember ask yourself, is the thought kind to you? There's so many things that you can think, that are like, I shouldn't have touched that doorknob. I'm such a, No. Would you, I mean, under most circumstances, are you going to get mad at the person who touched that doorknob without thinking? Somebody knocked on the door, they ran over, they're expecting a package, you go over, you open the door, or whatever it is, I don't know, and you touch the doorknob. Would you be that mad at that person? Would you be unkind to that person? You might worry. You might tell them that was not a smart thing to do. You might even have some worry that transfers from what they did to you. But for the most part, you're not going to sit there and be like, that person's a horrible person. Touched a doorknob without thinking about it. I mean, if it's a pattern and they do dumb stuff all the time, then there's certain thoughts like that are fine, but they're understandable. But for the most part, no. You're not going to think about that other person. So if you accidentally touched a doorknob because you're excited about something, why are you going to do that to yourself? Why are you going to think such unkind things about yourself? So don't. The other thing about it is this. Can it be a kind thought for someone else too? Because the thing is that there is so much of a chance to just kind of, how to put it? Okay, I'm going to talk about it for a minute. About a month ago, I was in Publix. I had been having a day at work. A lot of people have been coming through without masks. I think that might even been one of those days where somebody told me that I should take off my mask. Even though, in point of fact, here's an interesting thing about... Oh, let's fix that before it falls over. Let's get that all fixed here. But important thing about my mask is that it actually makes it so that I can breathe easier. Yes. That might seem strange, but I work in an environment where there is a lot of smoke. And so having a mask actually makes it so that I can breathe easier. But I had somebody who came through that day said, "Oh, you should take your mask off." And I'm like, "No, I don't think I will," and was very insistent about it. Anyway, I went to the grocery store that night, and yeah, I got really up in people's faces. I was like, I saw a guy, about my age, not wearing a mask, and I was like, "What's your problem? Are you some kind of special baby who doesn't have to wear a mask? You special baby person?" And I mean, I was really, like over and over and over. I was mean. This thing is still floating. Let's try and fix that a little bit better now. I was mean to this person. I was so mad. I just, and honestly, I just would like to be able to go to the grocery store and get food without feeling like I might make my entire family sick from coming home from the store. And it's not that unreasonable thing for me to want, I don't think. But, that seems to be, controversial sometimes. But anyway, so I'm in there. And I got way up in that guy's face. I got up in that guy's face so hard that he listened to me. And I'm not sure that I really want people to listen to me that way, but I got in his face so hard, he went back out to his vehicle, and he got his mask, and he came back with his mask on. So I was feeling pretty good about that. So then there was another guy who was not wearing a mask, and I kind of pointed. I'm like, "You should wear a mask." He's like, yeah, I should. And I was like, "No, man, you really should wear a mask. It's actually pretty serious." Now this guy was big. Okay, this guy was probably about I'm gonna say at least 6'2", probably is at least 4 inches on me, maybe more. And I'm out to here. His shoulders were out to about here. Yes, I did, in fact. Thank you for asking if I did. Thank you for getting the mask. Yes, I did. I also apologized for being so over the top in the way that I asked him to get the mask. So yeah, good point. Definitely need to reinforce that positive behavior. But anyway, so this guy was, definitely bigger than me in the shoulders, bigger than me, and so I'm like, yeah, no, man, I'm serious. Like, you really should wear a mask. I mean, I just got in a guy's face about getting a mask, and he went and got one. He's like, "Well, probably shouldn't get mine." I'm like, "Really? I shouldn't?" Because, well, that's probably not the kind of thing. Yeah, I don't deal with that well. So I got in his face, and I said maybe the same things. I asked him if he was a big baby guy or something like that, so on and so forth. So got challenged to a fight out in the parking lot. And I was like, "Okay, sure. Yeah, let's go do this." I literally went in there just to get a pie. That's literally all I went in there for, was just one damn fresh pie. Not a whole lot. Just was coming off work, want to bring home a pie. And now I'm weird. That's food, and I'm feeling coronavirus stuff, and I'm not just going to set my food down somewhere where somebody else is going to pick it up. So I was going to take it over customer service and set it down there. So I'm going over that way. He's like, "Where are you going? Are we going to fight?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to go put my stuff down." No, I'm afraid that's not how the story ends. I do not punch the guy in the face. I'm going to go put my pie down. He's like, "Oh, I see. Now you're trying to get out of it." I'm like, "No, I'm not trying to get out of it. But if that's what you want to tell yourself so that you can get out of it, go right ahead." Kind of special baby man. Little baby person who can't wear a mask. It was right around that time he punched me right in the face. Sucker punched me. Bam! Right in front of the pharmacy in Publix. And you can see all the pharmacists go. I was kind of surprised because I was of the opinion that when there is a challenge to a fight that's going on and you are preparing for the fight, that you don't just sucker punch somebody. Oh, pied him in the face. Oh, that would have been good. I should have pied him in the face. Oh my God. That would have been brilliant. Holy cow. Yes. You're right. Okay. But yeah, so he punched me. My next response was, wow, you really are a baby person, because you do sucker punches too. And so I was just like, so what are you going to do now? And so he literally like just stared at me and walked over to the checkout. And I'm like, so are we going to fight outside? What are you doing? And he just like, anyway, long story short, I wasn't going to get up his face right quite so much in front of other people, you know, like right in front of like right in the checkout line isn't quite the same as in a fairly abandoned aisle. So I'm feeling like, okay, I'm you know, but at the same time, I'm still in a pretty pissed off space. So I'm walking through there. So he's done. I'm walking through there, and like and I'm seeing people go by, and I'm like, wear a mask, you know, who aren't wearing masks. I'm like, wear a mask, wear a mask, wear a mask, wear a mask. Anyway, one of the people there who saw all what happened asked, you know, oh, so should we call the police and that kind of thing? And at first I was like, yeah, we should call the police. But I'll be really honest with you. After a while, I said, no, we shouldn't call the police. First of all, I might have reason to be provocative, and the escalation was not appropriate, but I was the provocateur. The other thing is this: the guy was black. And God only knows, the way things are going on right now, not even right now, just the way the police are historically, I'm not gonna send the cops to a black guy's house for a thing that happened at a grocery store because he wasn't gonna wear a mask. I mean, it's stupid, and he should have been wearing a damn mask, but yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say here about all of this is that there are downsides to not applying this technique of asking about kind thoughts. Okay? The think technique asks if it's true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, and kind. Now, I said, be kind to yourself. Very important. But if you don't spend the time to think kind things about other people, then you might end up getting sucker punched in the middle of Publix. I'm not saying I deserved it. But I'm also not saying that I probably should have seen it coming. Alright, so, but the thing is that, you know, this is just getting back to when you're having negative thoughts, okay? Alright? Remember, anxiety has a purpose. It's there to keep you safe. When it's done that, when it has done the thing to keep you safe, it then becomes pointless. If you can, just push it away. You know, for me, I can. I can just be like, no, not going to do that. Fortunately, I lived alone for a while, and I could go, no, don't think that. Don't talk like that. You know, when I was alone, and people wouldn't look at me like you're crazy. I mean, I didn't actually, but you get the idea. So use this. This is a very positive technique to take the thoughts that get so easily run away from you. Is it true? All right. If it's not true, 100% true, what are the facts? Distinguish between facts and opinion. Is it a helpful thought? If it's not a helpful thought, let it go. Is it an inspiring thought? If it's not, let it go, or turn it on its head. Is there a way where it could be an inspiring thought? You know, a not inspiring thought is we're going to be stuck inside for the next 9 months. Okay, an inspiring thought is in August of 2021, we're going to be able to do all sorts of stuff. And people, I mean, you want to know something? I think we're going to have a little miniature baby boom. I really think we are. I think we're going to go out and be able to be like, hey, And it's going to be like people are going to be having sex. We're going to be having babies. I think it's going to be a thing, you know. So that's a more inspiring thought than thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck here all the time. Think about how good it's going to be when we finally can get out. Is it a necessary thought? There's so many thoughts that we have that are hurtful to us, that are unnecessary, that if we just go, you know what? Don't even need to be thinking about it. If it is something that's necessary, then eat the frog. All right? Do it one of the first things early, let it go, and then you don't have to think about it anymore. You know? Do it early. Lastly, again, is it a kind thought? Be nice to you, be nice to other people in your thoughts. There can be consequences to that if you don't. So, let's just talk a little bit, lastly, about the things that we can do to just kind of to build ourselves. You see, that's one of the things. I mean, everybody's like, there's all these things that you see. We're like, oh yes, well, I turned my entire backyard into a baseball field, during coronavirus quarantine. Well, great for you. I mean, there's a lot of things I'd like to be doing. There's a few that I've gotten done. One of them is, hey, I'm actually, doing some of this stuff. That's good for me. But, that's not a big project. There's a lot of things that you can do. So let's talk about some of those. First of all, there are a lot of, I would say, look into mindfulness and meditation. It's one of those, eating frogs. Mindfulness and meditation. It's that thing, it's like the 10 deep breaths. It's like yoga. It's taking that to the next level. It's where you're going to the more formal version of all of it. If that's the kind of thing that is helping you, follow through on it. And meditation doesn't have to be, Om Mani Padme Hum. It can just be like those 10 deep breaths and then thinking about something nice for, 2 minutes after that. That's meditation, Other things you can do. Write stuff down. If you don't have a little notebook or a journal or something like that, get one. I do everything on the phone. My Google Keep because I keep my notes in that, is just, oh my goodness, it's got so many tools for organizing things, and it is still just one giant pile of random notes and ideas, and also just thoughts for the day. And for me, I'm not even, part of my journaling right now is I'll be texting the various people in my life, and I'll just copy that, and I'll just put that in a little thing, and that's what I said on that day. That's what I was thinking about that day, because my texts are going to go away when this phone goes away. So I'm saving some of the better stuff that people have said to me. Other things, we talk about eating better. And that's, so many, it's like that goal, goals versus tasks. Okay, so the goal is to eat better. Let's talk about a task to that. Okay, a task, maybe, go ahead and look at new recipes. Find a book of crazy recipes. I had a great book, and I'm not sure one can find it. It's probably on somewhere, archive.org or something like that. But it's called White Trash Cooking. Now, it probably has many things that are politically incorrect about it, but one of the things that I remember the most was that there was a recipe that was simply called corn nuts and tab. And it was as follows. Imagine this is tab. Open a can of tab. Drink enough tab so that there's about that much at the top. Take a pack of corn nuts. You can see where this one's going, right? Pour the corn nuts into the can of tab. Swish around. Let sit for maybe about 1 or 2 minutes so they get a little bit wet. Drink and eat simultaneously. I'm not saying this should be the kind of thing that you qualify as recipes or healthy meals, but at the same time, the kind of fun you can have going through recipe books or just any of this kind of thing, finding things that are actually interesting. Just one other example, a little bit closer to what I'm doing. I was looking at a lot of old books on blacksmithing, and finding, they talk about various techniques for making things, so on and so forth. One of those in that way, I mean, be nice to self-improve and become a fantastic, the master smith, right? That would be great for my self-improvement during quarantine. Be nice if I had a forge at my house. Wouldn't that be great? But for me, just looking in the self-improvement, I found the method for making a locomotive brake by hand in a blacksmith shop. Now, admittedly, that's not something which I'm going to do, but yeah. Okay, so meditation helps, but you put a lot of effort into creative outputs. Yes, absolutely. And this is the thing. Yes, absolutely, you're right. Yes. This is the great thing about creative outputs, and there is so many things that you can do. So let's just briefly just go over this. There's all the things you can learn. There's the stuff that you were just, the stuff that you have been talking about. Like, you know what? I don't know how to play a musical instrument, but I want to learn how to play the kazoo. Good news, kazoo doesn't take a whole lot of effort to learn. But you could learn it. Maybe maybe you want to learn something like pick up a drawing technique. There's certain other things that you can do. Where is it? Do I have it kicking around here? Yeah, there it is. Okay, you probably can't tell what this is. It's not real obvious. But this is one of those drawing tablets. This is a little one. I scrape off all brand names off my stuff, but this is a little XP pen model. This thing, you just have a little pen on it, and you draw real space on it, and you can work on your art techniques. This thing, I think, was like, I think you can get these for like $25 nowadays. Incredibly inexpensive of a thing to do. And just even learning this whole technique of doing it in this style versus using the mouse is a whole thing. There's so many things. Again, just go through YouTube and you will find an incredible number of things that you can learn how to do. So, yes, ukulele. And is there a stigma attached to ukulele? I guess there's a stigma attached to ukulele of it kind of being a trender thing for a minute there. So, you have a homemade wooden kazoo. Okay. A handmade wooden kazoo. Oh my goodness. Okay. That is the kind of thing that I definitely have to look up at some point, because that's kind of cool. And yeah. All right. Other things, of course, any number of artistic endeavors, and it doesn't have to be anything all that complex. And honestly, just to a certain extent, if you want to, it doesn't have to be any of these things that people normally do. Like, get yourself a bunch of Play-Doh and experiment with sculpture and see if you can find a simple thing. Just do. Coloring books are great for one of those things. Ah, yes, the white girl instrument. Okay, yes. All right, so to feed into the white girls play ukulele more, yes, my lesbian daughter plays ukulele. And she's pretty good at it. But yeah, okay. But that's all right. I mean, I also think that it's one of those things that is, that's just the ones who are using it mostly. So, I mean, it's, I don't know. I think it works really. I mean, okay, hold on. Tiny Tim. All right. Next time you feel like it's too much of the white girl instrument, go look up a Tiny Tim song and listen to some Tiny Tim. Listen to Go Tiptoe Through the Tulips. He played the ukulele. The other things, just as far as creative endeavors, and I'm going to wrap this up here, is maybe there's certain people, maybe you can combine self-care into creative endeavors. For example, soap making is one of them. You can you can make bath bombs, or your DIY bath bomb. You can do a foot soak. You can do any number of things that will make, just kind of take care of you, come up with your, I mean, for me, as a guy, I came up with my own beard and mustache oil and wax some time ago, and it might be a time to touch on that again and find another one. Any number of things. All right, let's see what yes, all right, good. Tiny Tim. All right, so I am going to wrap this up now. There's a whole lot more that we can talk about, but it has been 2 hours of me kind of blathering away here. Thank you for joining in here, everyone who has. And this has been the best it's been so far. And again, if anybody has anything they want to add here into the chat, then I'll leave this open for a little bit. But otherwise, if you happen to know how to contact me otherwise, please do. All right. Everyone here, take care, be well. Remember, be kind to yourself. It's the most important thing when being kind to others. All right. I'm not quite sure how this ends, so I'm going to wait for me to finish talking before I hit this button. Okay. I hope you had a good time.